Hello, I'm Rachael from Echidna Sewing, and today I'm going to show you how to layer a heat transfer vinyl design using a domestic iron. Of course, should you own a heat press, you could use that. Lately, I've been playing with HTV in a variety of ways, and I'm excited by the creative possibilities. Working with heat transfer vinyl is fun and fast, and today I'm using the spaceship design from the Interspace SVG design pack. Before I show you what is needed to get started, let me explain the basics. Firstly, it's really important to get your iron settings correct with HTV. This of course does depend on the blank you're using or the type of fabric, but generally the temperature should be a cotton setting and no steam is required. It does depend on how hot your iron does get to, and there are guides on our website if you want to delve into this further. Heat transfer vinyl is designed to move, so it's suitable for most fabric or any blanks. You will need an applique mat to press, but lastly, if the HTV is applied correctly, the item is washable to around 60 degrees Celsius and is suitable for dry cleaning. Be aware that after multiple washings, you may need to iron it again. So let's start getting creative, and here's what you'll need. So I have printed my Interspace rocket layered SVG pattern because it tells me the order in which I need to make my layers. I have ironed my piece of fabric, so I'm just using a plain fabric to show you how to work with your layers. I have pre-cut shapes for my rocket ship. I have my wool pressing mat here, my Oliso iron, and my applique mat. Let's clear the table and we'll start creating and pressing. So I've cleared the table and got everything I need to begin layering my vinyl. So I'm going to look at my layered SVG pattern, and the first thing I need to do in step one is put the flames of the rocket down. And so that is this piece. The other thing I need to consider, and I'm just using a piece of fabric today because I work a lot with fabric rather than blanks, but where I want my rocket to be. So do I want my rocket to be this way? Do I want it to be on an angle? And that does depend on the type of thing that you're pressing it onto. But today I'm actually going to press it on an angle, so I'm going up this way. So I'm going to place my vinyl with its protective sheet there, and before I press anything, I'm just going to audition the rest to make sure I have enough room around the outside for me to cut my piece of fabric down. And using this as my guide, kind of going, what I'm looking at is, have I got enough fabric here, here, and here, oops, to make it work if I square my block up. And you know what, I don't think I do, so I'm going to go back this way a little, and I think that will be better for me. Okay, so now the location is fine. The next thing I'm going to use is my small piece of applique mat. What I need to do is iron my HTV onto the fabric right where it is. So I always use this first, and I just want to give it a brief iron to see, one, how hot my iron is, and also so that I'm not ruining my protective sheet straight away. But I'm just going to lay this on here now and hold for about 5 seconds. The idea for me is just not to adhere it fully, but just enough so it will stay, because I have another layer to add. And also, this is a hot peel. HTV or heat transfer vinyls, different brands, may have a warm peel, a cold peel, or a hot peel, but for the brand that I'm using today is a hot peel. And I've just pressed it, so I held the iron, pressed and held it until I was happy that it was just adhered. My next step is to look at my design again, and so my orange is kind of in the middle of the flame here. So this is my first layer. So I'm going to press that down. The protective sheet's really good at holding it in place. viewing it, and then again, this is going to be another 5 seconds. With larger pieces you may need to hold it longer, but the idea is not to overheat both pieces so that it stretches. And that's worked well. So let's fold this up so you can see the guide as I go. Now I'm going to get the rocket ship itself. And you can see here the flames are actually under the ship. So I've laid my first part of the rocket ship down, and I've realised because I wanted these dots to be the same colour as these guys, I've cut them at the same time, but that's not going to help me for when I press this, because obviously this is the first press now. The dots will need to be on top of this one. So what I'm going to do is give you this quick hack, which is I'm going to cut these dots off the protective layer with my scissors, but not remove the rocket ship. So I'm just going to do that. This is what's really great about HTV. You can make these quick rectifications. So I'm going to take the dots out like this. And my rocket ship will still be positioned correctly. Just take the dots out, put them aside for the end, and go back here with my angles corrected. I think that does look much better and just like the image. So now I'm going to iron that. So this is a larger piece, and these are larger pieces, but I'm going to start at the top and hold for about 5 seconds and repeat this for the wings. Down at the base, so these are the first layers for these parts, but down at the base, that is the third layer. So again, I'm going to gently start peeling from where I started and seeing that the vinyl has adhered, which you can see that it has. Peel it back. 3 layers on the tail, first 2 layers up here. Next positioning is the rocket ship itself. So I'm looking at lining up these pieces. That reference means the stripe is further up the nose and the tail should be aligned. Perfect. Now you can see if I press here, without my applique mat I will damage my vinyl, so just pop that applique mat there. I'm going to iron from here, avoiding the tail completely. And I am applying a little bit of pressure to this, and I am very aware of where my iron is in comparison to the vinyl, the applique mat and that protective sheet. So those are the things that you need to be mindful of when pressing with your layers. Looks great. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go to our large circle and small circle, so we will need to use the applique mat a little bit more. This one will take a little bit of eyeing up, so I'm using my eye to gauge the centre for placing my large circle. And this one's going to be a little bit trickier, so I'm going to use my 2 applique mats. The idea is to protect the vinyl at all costs. Don't want to overheat it, so you can see, just using mat. Firm press, about 5 seconds, and remove. and a gentle removal of that protective sheet. And then my little green guys go on top. And the same principle again. And I'll press and hold. So I think the key is not to get too worried about the rest of the design on this side, but just to make sure that the piece that the iron is going to touch is not sticking or not on the vinyl directly. And the last part, which is the piece that these pieces that I removed, and they sit up here. I just need to protect my nose cone of my spaceship, and I'll press that and we are done. Okay, so that is our rocket ship, completely layered. It's quite warm. I probably wouldn't do any other layering or ironing from the back or anything. It looks and feels well stuck. If you are concerned, you could do this and just give it a brief press to make sure that all the bits and the elements are together. But that's how you layer a design with heat transfer vinyl. Hope you have fun making lots of rocket ships, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.